You're with the Sound of Ideas from Ideastream Public Media. I'm Jeff St. Clair. Good morning. In today for Jenny Hamill. Thanks for joining us. Space travel. It's the dream of generations of astronauts with thoughts of building a moon base, someday landing on Mars. Northeast Ohio is slated to be home of one of the world's premier astronaut training facilities. That's thanks to a special collaboration between NASA and British aeronautics startup Blue Abyss. The facility will be used to study how people can work in outer space or deep sea environments. Blue Abyss will train people for human spaceflight, zero and partial gravity simulations, looking at low Earth orbit and that kind of stuff. The company's first American campus for around $250 million is being built just down the road in Brook Park. Here to tell us about this collaboration and space exploration, we have CEO of Blue Abyss calling in from England, John Vickers. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, good afternoon, Jeff.
All right, it is afternoon in England. And we have Josh Free, NASA Glenn's technical lead for the Blue Abyss collaboration. Josh, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Jeff.
And the mayor of Brook Park, Edward Orcott. Edward, thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
You can join the conversation. What is going on with space travel in Northeast Ohio? Call 866-578-0903. Email us at soi@ideastream.org. Tweet us. We're at Sound of Ideas. John, tell us about Blue Abyss. What is your company's mission?
So, Jeff, we're intending to build a series with the first in Cleveland, Ohio, these marine-centric, so based around very large, deep, multi-level pools, centres to help prepare humans to live, work and thrive in extreme environments. It happens to be that in Cleveland, that focus is on humans themselves and space.
All right. Josh, how does Blue Abyss, how does this program that John is describing fit in with NASA's goals for space exploration?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I do want to say, NASA's training of NASA astronauts will continue in Johnson Space Center in Houston. We've been fully supportive of that, and that will continue as we go along. But as you can see, that the commercial world is growing with different commercial astronaut capabilities and tourism and other areas, and that's where Blue Abyss can come in and help us out and work with NASA. So NASA is excited about working with Blue Abyss on this market study. We're going to look at the market and understand the future and the trends with the market, but also understand where we can go with this facility and the potential for it, not only for NASA but just for the general public and beyond that.
Okay, well, we'll get a little more detail on that. But John, I want to ask you could have built this facility anywhere in the world. Why did you choose Cleveland, Ohio?
Well, we were actually looking down in Houston, Jeff, to be completely honest. But it was an introduction to the Ohio Aerospace Institute and then a trip in September 2022 that introduced me to Mayor Orcott. And that very first meeting, the mayor was very forthright when he said, Mr. Vickers, come with me. We drove out of OAI's offices at the back of NASA Glen along Aerospace Parkway, which is adjacent to the airport, and he pointed at a plot of land and I said, that's where you're going to build your first centre. That compelling introduction, that fantastic salesmanship, coupled with obviously the long and prestigious history that Ohio has in terms of space first, Senator John Glenn, Neil Armstrong, the Wright brothers, etc. There's a long, proud history and the existing infrastructure and support for space, as well as Governor DeWine's, one of his 6 pillars is space. The next frontier for humanity is off our planet. So I think Cleveland is a fantastic location.
Yeah, we have Mayor Orcutt. First, Brook Park, landed the Browns Stadium. Now you're going to have the world's largest testing facility for essentially the world's largest swimming pool. Big things are happening in Brook Park, apparently.
Absolutely. We're very excited about this project. The first minute I met John Vickers, his energy was like a magnet to myself, and we were able to talk a little bit about his project, and he had told me we need to be near an airport. We need to be near a NASA base. And Brook Park provides that. We're right next to Hopkins International Airport, and we own land, 12.8 acres that we sold to Mr. Vickers that are right outside the gates of NASA. So I think it just worked perfectly for his concept and his business.
Well, John, tell us a little bit about what might be happening in this. There's pictures on your website and some of the promotional material. It's this super, futuristic looking facility with a 50-meter swimming pool. What is going to happen at this new facility?
Well, two things, Jeff. I would just say that it's not a swimming pool. It's a research pool, first of all. You may be able to swim in it, but
Okay.
we'll try and not. I don't expect long queues of people with swimming aids to, on a Saturday morning necessarily.
All right.
But, we've tried to create an inspirational location that the local residents, the wider environment around Cleveland, Northeast Ohio and Ohio, can recognise as a centre of excellence. We want to prepare humanity for living, working and thriving in our oceans and out in space. And I think it's a human characteristic to want to expand beyond its current location, right? That fulfilling that curiosity for humanity remains at a core of being human. Creating something inspirational, creating something that fulfills that expansive quality, I think, goes hand in hand with that aspiration. And there's no point in just building a ubiquitous grey boxy shed. Let's build something that people are inspired to come and find out what they can participate, what they can contribute towards humanity's goals of stretching. And this new administration in the White House has stated that Mars is an achievement that they want to see aimed for, and we think we can help prepare the mass participation, i.e. it wouldn't just be government astronauts. Why should the American taxpayer just fund a few people when there is an opportunity for commercial companies to say, we want to do, forgive the pun, some of the heavy lifting. We want more people to have the opportunity. So let's create the facilities where more people can come and find out whether or not they've got what it takes, the right stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's John Vickers, CEO of Blue Abyss, calling in this morning from England. We also have Josh Free, NASA Glenn's technical leader for this collaboration. We also have the mayor of Brook Park on here in the studio, Edward Orcutt. We'd like to hear from you. Call 866-578-0903. Email us at soi@ideastream.org. Josh, so it sounds like it's already given that we are going to Mars someday, and that this is one crucial step in that, testing in extreme environments. There are plans to go to the moon, and so how will this facility facilitate these goals?
Yeah, it's a good question there. So I think, first of all, this facility increases the commercial capabilities for ground testing for space capabilities. So if you think about, zero gravity, for example, things behave differently in zero gravity. We have existing testing capabilities. They're getting older. They can be expensive in certain cases here. There are airplanes, parabola flying airplanes that are unusual, but they can do some small scale testing. And then, of course, we have the space station as well. But the space station's been around for a while and is also getting older. So looking at new capabilities, both on Earth and outside of the atmosphere, are important for us to continue our testing, continue our exploration, preparation, and get ready for trips to the moon and to Mars. The moon has 1/6 the Earth's gravity, flames and materials and everything behaves differently in that unusual gravity environment. So we're looking at partial gravity testing and other capabilities like that. And a facility like the Blue Abyss capability here in Brook Park would help us get faster testing, less expensive testing, and more capable testing.
Just to clarify, and I'm not sure who's the expert on this, but how does going down in the water help you prepare for doing things in outer space?
Yeah. So underwater provides essentially the similar environment to zero G. So you can essentially remove the gravitational part of testing. So when they practice spacewalks for the space station, and when they practice assembling parts of the space station, all of that's in Houston. They do that underwater in a similar laboratory. So you can kind of take the gravitational part out of it, and the physics are essentially the same, and you can take advantage of that, learn from that. Just because everything from forces to reactions and that sort of thing are all different in a zero gravity environment.
Not a swimming pool. Okay, clarified on that. We have Gary on the line from Brook Park. Gary, thanks for calling into Sound of Ideas.
Hi, John. Hi, everybody. How are you doing today?
Good, thanks. What's your question?
I had one question here. Being Cleveland has seen a lot of exciting movie industry activity recently. I wondered if the facility could be available to the movie industry.
All
That's
right.
it.
Yeah, anyone? This is a commercial facility. This is going to be serving other partners, not necessarily people associated with NASA all the time. So we have let's talk a little bit about that. Who will be using the facility, and then if there is the possibility that it could be used for things like shooting adventure films or something like that deep underwater. John?
I would like to answer that, Jeff. Absolutely. Hello, Gary. I think that's a fantastic question. A facility like this is absolutely designed to work with the local community, regional universities, local companies, international collaborators. The idea is to make this a commercial entity that is self-supporting, is not reliant on the US taxpayer to fund it. But what we do is help expand humanity's capabilities. It happens to be that we're focused on space, but the movie industry thrives on creating new and exciting storylines for us to watch. So the combination of a pool, a centrifuge and parabolic flight capability, we think gives us a number of opportunities. If the pool is being used by somebody, then there's other facilities that we can offer potential customers like the film industry. So absolutely. I don't necessarily know you'd make Superman 2 in the bottom of the next of our pool, unlike downtown Cleveland, but perhaps some sort of Marvel adventure, documentaries, all manner of collaborative opportunities with the film industry, with documentaries, with educating young people. I think there's a tremendous capability that commercial facilities like this give you to change the scope of what's going on and involve local people, as opposed to saying, I think there's something going on in there, but I don't really know much about it. We want to absolutely bring people in from the outside community and see and participate in what we're doing.
Well, could you tell us a little bit more about the Space Act agreement? I wasn't even aware that there was such a thing. This is legislation dating back to the 50s that allows private companies to work with the U.S. government, NASA in this case. How does that arrangement work?
I can start, Jeff, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I can start. So the Space Act agreement, like you said, it's been around forever. We use it all the time to partner with companies and universities and other government organizations. It doesn't mean any funding changes hands. A lot of times it's what we call non-reimbursable, and this is that case where we're not providing any funding to Blue Abyss and vice versa. So it's a partnership, and it's just a way to establish like a formal agreement that just says in this case we're doing this market study. We're working together with Blue Abyss and trying to provide public data that we have that to support their market study, and then again we'll work together on the market study itself, and then we'll see where the results go. So this is just a nice way to work together with a government organization like NASA.
This is a major investment, $250 million. Mayor Orcutt, what will this do for the community? What is the goal for Brook Park in working with Blue Abyss and NASA on this?
A couple of things. What it does, ultimately, it does bring new jobs. We're looking to have over 100 new employees just at the training facility itself, and approximately 65 workers at the hotel. But also, the other thing it does is it creates long-term sustainability for NASA to be in our backyard. There's only 10 NASA bases in the country. NASA and Brook Park has been hidden in the woods over there for over 80 years, and we're extremely proud of that, especially considering we're only 65 years old as a city. So that long-term sustainability for NASA, and it's more job creation, which there's direct impact, and then there's also the impact of, people need to buy homes, they need to shop and buy groceries. So there's this ripple effect that Blue Abyss coming to the city of Brook Park, Northeast Ohio, how it just helps the industry for aerospace.
Mm-hmm. And long-term economic benefits for Brook Park?
Absolutely. Jobs means income tax.
Mm-hmm. I do want to mention that Cleveland State's Global Space Law Center, didn't know they had one, is holding its annual symposium on the legal and operational challenges of human spaceflight. That's next Thursday here in Cleveland. They will be discussing the Blue Abyss venture in Brook Park. What are you going to be there for that, Josh?
No, I might be. I think we're talking about who will be representing NASA for that event. But yeah, it's just another great opportunity for local and regional participation and involvement in something like this.
And John, in England, you're in Cornwall. Is that right?
I'm not presently in Cornwall, Jeff. I live on the other side of the country in East Anglia, but yeah, we're planning a second facility down in the southwest of the UK.
So there will be a similar facility in England.
A similar facility, but there is much more marine emphasis in this country. Lake Erie is not, sadly, the home of the Pacific Fifth Fleet, nor a great deal of offshore energy at the moment. That might change. But, of course, down in the southwest, which is a peninsula in the UK, there is much more emphasis on floating offshore wind, oil and gas, renewables, blue economy related stuff. So the marine side of our business in the UK is probably more than 50% of what we'll be focusing on, whereas in the US, in Cleveland, it'll be slightly less than that.
And when will we start seeing groundbreaking on this, and when do you anticipate it going into operation?
So we intend to try and clear the site before the spring. So as soon as the worst of the winter weather starts to clear, excuse me, we'll look to clear the site, prepare it for construction. Then we'll appear before the mayor and the planning committee and ensure that what we're suggesting we're going to build, there is approval for. The aim is to get starting to get built, building going on by the early summer, and then it's about an 18-month construction process, all things being equal, Jeff. So late 2026 for a soft opening, early 27 hopefully. We'll try and expedite that where possible, but when you're building a pool of these dimensions, you don't want to come in one day and find all the water's disappeared because you didn't take the right technical care.
Yeah, and I hope that we can stop back, maybe visit once the facility is up and running. I really look forward to that. John Vickers, CEO of Blue Abyss, calling from England this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed, Jeff. Thank you, everybody.
Also, Josh Free, NASA Glenn Research Center Engineer and Technical Lead for this collaboration. Josh, good to see you.
You too. Thanks, Jeff.
And we heard from Mayor Edward Orcutt, the mayor of Brook Park. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.